Right, so there are days when I want to do cardio, but I don't want to do cycling, spinning. I don't want to be on a treadmill. I don't want to do a stairmaster. I don't want to do any of that. I want to do something a little more engaging. And so I like to play basketball for cardio. But there's days when I go in to play some basketball, but there's no games running. The gym is completely empty. It's just me. And so I thought I might upload what my sort of routine looks like whenever I don't have anyone to play against. And so what I basically do is like this one sort of cardio focused shooting drill. And what you're seeing right now is me warming up. I'm just trying to get a little range out. I start really close to the basket, and as I progress out to the free throw line, that's where I get most of my shots from whenever I do the actual drill. But it's kind of, to get better with the overall distance rather than kind of the directionality of the shot. And after a while, I get into like a pretty good rhythm. But you're seeing there's a lot of breaks, especially because I trained forearms earlier, and so the fatigue from that really made my shot really inconsistent. But that's not as important. What is important is essentially what I do. So I'll set up my sort of shots to be from either elbow, just to start. I like to start on the right, I guess, just as a form of habit. And you'll see me begin that in a second. But what I like to do specifically is I will shoot, and after every shot I'll alternate sides regardless of whether or not I miss or make it. I'm going to go to the other elbow and just keep shooting. And in order to really encapsulate the kind of like continued consistency in my shot despite my exhaustion, I will only stop the sequence whenever I miss 3 shots in a row, because to me, if I miss 3 shots in a row, that's a sign that I am far too fatigued to continue playing and getting some high quality reps in, because like my shot's off because I'm exhausted. My ankles might be super sore. I don't know, my soleus might be completely exhausted. The tendons just aren't there. So I think I will take like a 3-minute break after 3 misses in a row. If I have 2 misses and then I make a shot, then it resets. Then and that way I'm able to keep myself going, and I'll keep pushing this for about maybe 2 to 3 sessions. I think today I did 3 sessions, but some days I might only do 2. It depends on how hard I went in whatever workout I did. I really only did a really light workout today. Like I did back earlier in the day, and then I went and did some core and cardio. But this is really just a secondary workout for the day, so there's no really huge need for me to push myself to doing like 4 sessions or more. And I feel like after 3 I get a really good sort of consistency. And so here you see that I missed that last shot. That was 3 shots in a row that I wasn't able to make. And so I'm going to go ahead and get my Apple Watch ready to start the 3-minute timer, and then I just wait. So during this period, I won't really do any sort of dribbling or anything. Like I'll move around my feet. And honestly, like during the second break, I would even like just sit down and get off my feet, just because the kind of like tendons were so sore. I wanted to give them a little bit of time to rest and recover, so that my shooting wouldn't necessarily be impacted. I know that when I shoot personally, there's a lot of kind of hopping, because I don't really have the most height, so to generate a little bit more power, and especially with this specific shirt that I had on, because it was really sort of short on me. This is kind of a size medium when I'm usually kind of a size large. I wore it with sleeves, so it was extra difficult for me to get really good form with my release. And so by focusing on kind of having a period dedicated to recovering, I'm able to get back into the sort of period of endurance on the second sort of session, where I'm able to get back into a really good sort of like routine with my shot. And as you'll notice, like immediately after coming back off from that break, I am kind of mediocre. I'm making some shots, I'm missing most of them, but over time, because I give myself that kind of 3 shots in a row rule, even though I missed 2 shots right there, that third shot, it kind of saves me. And so I'm able to keep that kind of mindset going. And so during a game, if I'm playing like a pickup game and I miss the first shot, and then I miss a shot immediately after that, I'm not necessarily discouraged, because I know that I have another shot before I'll sort of give up on shooting for that specific round, and be focused more as a facilitating player until I'm able to get a little bit more time getting accustomed to shooting closer range shots, and then stepping back out. But by doing this, I feel like I'm able to establish a really good sort of rhythm where my shots are getting up consistently. I'm doing a pretty good amount of cardio. I'm moving. But none of this is super high intensity. This is moved to like 2x speed. So I'm kind of just jogging throughout this entire drill. And not necessarily because I want to get good at just jogging, and I'm gonna jog in game, but because this is cardio, this is kind of like an endurance thing, and because it's an endurance thing, I'm more so thinking about myself as somebody who's constantly in motion, but not really like pushing myself to sprint every time. I'm trying to get more accustomed to that, and also I'm kind of pretty heavy right now. I'm not the heaviest I've ever been. I'm around like 208, 207, but that is a lot heavier than I've been for most of my life. So my joints aren't necessarily accustomed to that. So jogging really is kind of like the most important thing for me whenever it comes to sort of training for any kind of cardiovascular activity. So there's not a huge amount of resistance in the motion, but I feel like being able to practice this shot, especially when I'm sort of out of breath, practice controlling my breath on the release, practicing all of the things that I need to do in order to be a more effective shooter whenever, it counts the most. Getting those easy buckets, these easy 2 points, creating that space. All these things are super central to the way that I play the game. And so I like to really focus on, hammering those drills whenever I'm by myself. And so this is basically what I do. I hit back earlier, like I mentioned previously, and there we go. That was 3 shots that I missed in a row. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer one more time.